But it took me multiple hours to get the stuff. You know, like you had to build to it and practice it. And
I got really good armor because I built it. I mean, I've got like 51 mods installed. Like nothing game unbalancing, but just kind of like all extra content. And I did exactly what I did with Oblivion. I got distracted. I worked up my crafting. I made great armor, and then I kind of started playing the game.
That's what I did this last time. But my armor, like I didn't install any mods. I did it all on the Xbox. Or no, I think this one was on the PlayStation.
Yeah, because that was where we had.
It was like no mods or it was just that you can stack potions and enchantments.
Dancing Groot.
And it did. So yeah, it was fun.
Of course, I also play in easy mode because life doesn't have a difficulty slider.
And I don't have a vampire girlfriend in real life, which I'm finding kind of sad. I rather like my Skyrim vampire girlfriend. She's kind of awesome. Like, every once in a while, she'll be like, oh, this is a really gorgeous view. I'm glad you're here with me. And I'm like, aw, I'm glad you're here with me, too.
Okay.
Is it Serena?
Yeah.
Yeah, Serena's great.
Hey, Dancing Groot. That makes me think. There was, I don't know if you guys followed the, like, Am I the Asshole stuff from Reddit?
Yeah.
There was literally an Am I the Asshole? This dude wrote in his girlfriend that he's quarantining with. They've been both playing their separate Skyrims or whatever. Did you see the one?
I saw that one.
Yeah. And I was just like, I know exactly who you're talking about. And dude, why wouldn't you want to watch that? Come on.
But now he's pissed off because she's dating Serena in the game. Or married or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, married.
So James, question, does it bother you in real
No,
life?
I think that's wholesome. I support that.
See? Then every single person is like, you're the asshole, is correct.
I want to marry Serena with my female character in game. I think that's wholesome.
We're all okay, because, yeah, why not?
Yep, I saw that.
Can you make it bigger?
No.
It's
Make
hard
it bigger,
being old,
Dane.
guys. It's hard being old. By the way,
Look at us.
hi everyone. This is Becky and James.
Becky and James at Lunasea Studios.
I was getting there.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Spoilers, Dane.
Spoilers, they're awesome.
Spoilers, they're awesome.
That's not a spoiler. That's just a well-known fact by the tens of people that follow my work, Dane.
It's true.
Tens of people.
Tens of people.
The tens of people.
You have tens of people?
I have tens of people.
Wow,
Tens.
I didn't know I was putting somebody famous on there.
10 fingers, tens of people. I count like a gully dwarf.
Don't undersell yourself. It's dozens.
Dozens. But I don't have the fingers for that.
You gotta pull out a toe.
What am I doing here, Dane? What are we doing?
What are we
I'm like,
doing
I
here?
can see your faces.
Beyond looking at our
Honestly, I'm
faces.
just so excited to see
Were you-
your faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if nothing else happens, then people could just watch us be excited to see your faces, I guess. But no, like...
To be your booth barnacles for this evening.
Oh, yay, we can be your booth barnacle. Hi, I noticed that you have some artwork of some spaceship, and I've designed a spaceship in my mind, and I'm going to spend an hour telling you all about my spaceship.
I wrote a novel that transcends genre. Well, it's more of an outline, but it's 800 pages.
Oh, you know,
Wow, you guys had a lot of practice in that.
So much practice. The one thing I don't miss from shows.
Barnacles.
it's hard to talk about booth barnacles because it's like we appreciate all the people who come by our tables so much, and yet there's those folks who come by the table that you're like, thank you for being here, but please leave. And I'm like, oh, I always feel a little bad talking about booth barnacles, but the ones that we talk about are the exceptional ones. The nice lady who had to tell us all about her novel that just transcends genre. It would not belong in any particular place in the bookstore because it transcends genre. And of course, anyone who's done shows in Southern California is familiar with CSI Arkham.
Right.
Whatever you have at your table, he has written a novel about it, or a screenplay, or something, and he will tell you every detail about it.
Of his thing.
Whether you want to
it don't matter. You haven't paid thousands of dollars and worked years and years to build up a wall of art or write a book and write and illustrate a book. No. You are there for him.
They provide us with distinctive memories, though.
They do.
Yes. See, that's the thing. They are the best stories. Just like my stories from being a teacher always involve the best students.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
there's people too. Like I know that one time, like somebody that's come by someone that comes by our tables at a lot of shows and is amazing. And I will be honest, they play Mass Effect, and so I think sometimes they've tried to escape, but I haven't let them.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Actually,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's
We've reversed Booth Barnacle. I'm like,
I
oh my
love
god,
it.
I just had a venti and I'm ready to talk about a thing. Let's talk about a thing. Oh, that's
Like-
me.
Oh, did you accidentally show some small bit of interest in a thing that I'm really excited about? You're never leaving.
Oh, you mentioned 3D printing laser cutters.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're wearing a Disneyland shirt.
Yep.
Did you think you came to the con to see the con? No.
You
You're gonna
came to
talk to
talk
me
to me.
about Disneyland. That's it.
What? What? You had a panel to get in line for? Too bad.
There'll be more panels next year.
Let's
What
talk
happened?
about Cadence some more.
Yep. But I've had people suddenly realize that we've been talking for a long time and go, oh my god, have I been taken? And I'm like, no, you're fine. I really enjoyed it. And it was my fault.
Here's 7.5 hours on why Garrus is best friend forever.
I think I was driving us to Lexington, Ashley, and Kentucky, and that's when, well, you had the opportunity to tell me all about Mass Effect, so I learned all about Mass Effect, but that was the entire car ride.
In my defense, you asked.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm legit interested. No, I think it was, we're from driving, I think from the airport in Louisville to Lexington, which, is about an hour. And
Yeah.
the whole conversation was just Mass Effect. I'm like, okay, thank you. Because otherwise I would not really know much about it. So, no,
Yeah.
I welcomed that. But it's also like, damn, there's a lot.
We got to talk about this stuff sometimes too. I mean, people walk up to the booth and
Right.
you want to talk about things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I love kidnapping people who have like a T-shirt of something that I like, or even better, like when cosplayers walk by our table, and I'm like,
Gosh.
I have no idea who you are. Your costume is awesome. Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even want a picture. I just want to talk about it.
I don't
Tell
want to
me
be that
about
guy
this
who's
thing.
all like, "Oh, Master Chief, I love Mass Effect."
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and I love it, especially the cosplayers. I love it when they want to talk about the process of how all of that
Yes.
stuff went together.
Yeah.
Because I'm a crafter, but
Yeah.
my mom actually sews stuff, and so like I know just enough to be like really, really impressed by the stuff they're saying. So
Yeah, it's like, We're
that's
all
fun for me.
creators. Cosplayers are just a different kind of creator. But
Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
god, we learned about using magnets for our displays from a cosplayer. Is like
Yeah.
bonus exchange.
Yeah, Riddle.
of
She was
knowledge.
on the.
Riddle, yeah.
She was on the first season, I think, of Sci-Fi's cosplay show.
Yeah.
Way years ago, she taught us the magic of using magnets to attach things to things.
Magnets.
She was using magnets to attach things to herself.
Right.
Yeah, she had
'Cause
like
she was using it for her armor, right?
For her
yeah.
wasp armor on the bodysuit.
She had a bodysuit that she used for. I mean, it's so practical, which I always love. She had a bodysuit that she used for several different outfits, and then the magnets were placed so that she could place the different parts of armor.
And she was talking about like stuffing a metal plate down the front of her suit, to get the magnets on. And the guy next to us is turning bright red.
He was young
Yeah.
because she was demonstrating. She's
She was
talking
like,
about.
and then the Spanx and the it was just
And then, I mean, the dude was the appropriate amount embarrassed without, being skeevy. He was this is fascinating to me, but maybe it's wrong that it's fascinating to me. Whereas
Right.
James and I are just like the craft of it. I'm like, boobs are just part of the craft when you're a cosplayer who has boobs. So it's just like, I don't know, I got boobs. They're just a part of the craft.
Boobs are just part of the craft. Becky Hicks.
Even then, we were old. Oh, the young people are talking about their boobs. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Maybe.
Hey, look! No matter how old I get, I still have them too. Yay! We have something in common.
We have something in common.
I'm sorry, I can't have a conversation without talking about boobs.
I mean, you can't
What?
really talk about conventions without talking about boobs, really.
It's true.
Seriously, I mean, there's all conventions. If you are a person with boobage, conventions either them getting in the way or boobs sweat. There's just
They're either helping you or hindering you. There's no negative. There's no neutral case.
between.
there's no in between. You're stacking your hot dogs on them so you can carry stuff back to your booth if you have a booth. Your crunchy hot dogs.
Yay, crunchy hot dogs.
Please tell me someone has questions about boobs. Come on. Wait, is this chat
Or
over here?
conventions or, whatever.
I actually have a question.
Hey, Eddie K.
How long? Like, what was you guys' first year of attending San Diego Comic Con? Because I know you guys were from San Diego.
1994.
Boom.
We moved, let's see, we were married on June 11th.
Uh-huh.
The day after our wedding in Kentucky, we moved to San Diego because he had gotten the job there and I had not gotten my degree yet. But, it was like, okay, so we moved and I started working. Carl's Jr., my first job, in San Diego, and he started working at Qualcomm. But in Kentucky, like right before the end of my last year at the University of Kentucky, a sweet geek named Billy was like, "Oh, you're moving to San Diego, with your fiance. Cool. You should go to San Diego Comic Con." I didn't even know comic book conventions were a thing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy enough growing up in the 70s and 80s. I was happy enough to find other Star Wars fans. There was no interwebs.
Right.
I didn't join any fan clubs or anything like that. So the idea of like a group of my people all getting together in one place, awesome. So yeah, we're like, oh, okay. So even in Kentucky in 1994, people had heard of San Diego Comic Con. I went to comic book stores every
Right.
Wednesday, but Billy was even more into it than I was. So
We had Wizard
we-
Magazine.
I'm sorry, what?
We had Wizard Magazine that would always have
Yeah.
about San Diego
Yeah.
Comic Con every year.
Yeah, see, I didn't buy Wizard until after I moved to San Diego and found our comic book store, the Comic Gallery, where we met Jason, our dear friend Jason, who you know. That's where we met him because he worked at the Comic Gallery in Mira Mesa.
Hmm.
So,
I can see him as,
1994,
like, the really cool
and-
comics guy.
Yeah, me too.
what, like a month? Yeah, it would have been a month after we moved. When we didn't have, James had a job, but we didn't have a lot of money to start with. But we took the trolley downtown and got off at the convention center, walked up to the ticket booth, and bought a badge and walked in.
I think this was the third year. We didn't know this was the third year that it was in the convention
Yes,
center.
because 1991. Because I researched all
Yeah.
this for my screen. 1991 was when they first moved to the convention center, and by 1994, attendance was about 30,000 plus people.
Wow.
Right.
So that was still gigantic, and we were just like,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh my God, where are these people the rest of the year? San Diego's a great city, but it's not really very. The geeks kind of hide, I guess.
Right.
They've come out of the woodwork more, recently. But when we first moved there, it was just like, hello, where's our tribe? Other than our close friends, it was like, where's our tribe? And well, there they were, all in the convention center. So
So how
and
much
there
of the
was-
convention center was it taking up at that point?
it wasn't even the hall. Well, it wasn't the original.
I think it was taking up the whole convention center, but at the time,
Right.
the whole convention center was halls A, B, and C.
Oh, okay.
The convention center stopped at the stairs leading down from the sales. The stairs was the end of the building. The grand
Yeah.
staircase was the end of the building.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, did you start attending before or after the expansion? You said you attended
After.
in
Way back
2000.
after. It
Our
was-
first one was 2006.
Okay, I think the
So-
expansion
Yeah,
was
so that
already
was
there.
after
right?
one expansion.
One of the expansions, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because that was before Hall H, right?
No.
No, it was before they expanded. I think there was an expansion where like it became bigger or something.
Yeah, didn't they make Hall H bigger, like take up more of that park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen it before and after that. I feel like.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I don't even remember what was in that space.
It was a parking lot.
It was a parking lot. Oh yeah, remember parking in San Diego during Comic-Con?
No.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. The years following, when we could like afford to pay for parking, yeah, you would just drive downtown and park.
Wow.
Yeah, you just park in a lot, and it's $5, and then you go to the con.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know,
there
right?
were lots.
We took the trolley, I think, just about every year we attended, but not as exhibitors. There was no way
Yeah.
we could take that risk. So yeah, 1994. So we got to watch it really exponentially grow.
Yeah.
Like boom, just early, late 90s, early 2000s was when it really just started going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were in there quite a while ago, but even so, you got to remember the con is 2 years older than we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. When I see, like, these other conventions pop up that they're like, we're going to be as big as San Diego Comic-Con, or we're going to make as much money, and blah, blah, I'm like, well, call me in 50 years, bro.
Right, exactly.
Well, I feel like there's a question, too, of what is as big? Like, what do you mean by big, right? Like, New York has basically set by as big, they mean attendance, right?
Right.
Like, so they're like, okay, we're bigger than San Diego Comic-Con, and they are by attendance.
Yeah.
Like, they've done, but you have to, like, when I hear some of these other shows that say that stuff, I'm like, but what do you mean by that? Because a lot of them claim to have attendance as big, and it's not. And
I don't want to
and
name
you can,
names, but stuff like counting your thousands of comp tickets as attendance.
Right. Or counting every person who walks through the door as a separate attendee, whether they're the same person or not.
right? Like,
We have a question in the chat.
oh.
Yeah, I see that Dancing Groot. How many people attend SDCC now?
So I think it's 130,000.
It's up to like 130,000.
Yeah, and I think San Diego is one of those shows. It's one of the few shows that underreports their attendance.
They do.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher than that.
They're a non-profit. They're not competing with anybody. Side-eye Salt Lake.
And nowadays,
Yeah.
there's a lot of auxiliary stuff outside in downtown. The gas lamp, those people don't get badges and never even come to the con, but there are tens of thousands of them too.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of locals that still they go in the afternoon on the days, and they'll pick up, like, they'll buy badges for people leaving for like $10 or whatever, and then come in and see the floor or something like that.
That, again, don't get counted as...
Right. They don't get counted as additional attendees, but I mean, they kind of are.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are on the order of 200,000 people that kind of participate in the con or adjacent to the con in some way.
Right. That's.
And then another 100,000 of the San Diegans who normally spend their weekends in the Gaslamp Quarter. Let's just say the more fashionable and attractive people and well-off people. And they'll come down to the Gaslamp Quarter, the downtown area right outside the convention center, just to watch.
Yes.
Oh my God, nerds.
Right. Like we're all animals in their own personal zoo.
I feel like some of that's gotten a little less like zoo watching and a little more like actual interested, like joining the party in the last few years a little bit.
The
Yeah, it's
Hollywood,
definitely shifted that way.
The Hollywood has definitely helped
Yes.
with that. But yeah, I remember those early years, like the early 2000s. It's just like, oh my God, they're like taking over the Gaslamp Quarter. Oh my God. It's like, how am I gonna like party now? So yeah, that was fascinating to watch that. But then it's just like, oh, they have money. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, all of the businesses downtown shifted their focus for that weekend.
Yes, the Gaslamp, the Old Spaghetti Factory. Shout out to the Old Spaghetti Factory on 5th in the Gaslamp Quarter in San Diego. They were always pretty good and welcoming. I remember, I think when we were still attendees, They were, someone was seating us, and they were just like, "Oh, I see your badge. You're going to San Diego Comic Con?" I said, "Yeah, we're having dinner after the con." "Yeah, I saw some folks come in earlier. I think they were dressed as, Klingons from Star Trek. It was so cool." It was just like, these are non-geeky people working there, but they were always cool and welcoming. And other places just kind of figured it out. And then Ghirardelli. I miss my Ghirardelli ice cream parlor in San Diego. That's my yearly San Diego Comic Con tradition. Is like, I'm getting some damn ice cream.
Yep.
But that was where we saw the sign, right?
I don't think it was Ghirardelli. It was a smaller local business. But one year, I guess every year, the Chamber of Commerce sends out posters, like letter-sized posters to put up. So, welcome San Diego Comic Con members, whatever. We learned one year they also send out a memo for the businesses to read that is the care and feeding of convention goers. This convention goer, they wear costumes. There might be a lot of them at once. It's really simple stuff like this. And one year, one of the businesses had posted that next to the poster. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
And
that's awesome.
It's like the kindergarten version of what's a convention goer. It's like, you should welcome them into your business. Right. They spend money.
It's like, while they are buying things from you, they might talk about something called anime. It really was kind of like that.
Great.
They may be speaking to you in character. They are not really Deadpool.
Nor do they actually believe that they are Deadpool.
It is overwhelming. I mean, the gas lamp, that's the cool downtown place to go in San Diego, and lots of great restaurants and everything. It's just, but San Diego Comic Con, I don't care what level of business you're at, it is overwhelming.
Yes.
But the businesses that embrace, the con vibe and everything, those are the ones that thrived. And there was some, even just recently, wasn't there one that's like, oh, we're going to have an after party after San Diego Comic Con for real San Diegans and people who don't do con, and it was just like, and
they got dragged so much, even by the other businesses downtown.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Like, they were like, we're going to celebrate all the nerds getting out of our way or whatever.
Yes.
And
it was something like that. And it's just like, you know what? You could say something like, we're going to throw a party for after the craziness of Comic-Con, and let's all just come have fun, something like that. But it's like, don't put down people who are, and I believe I've got this number right, bringing $180 million to the gas lamp quarter.
Yeah.
That's officially
like just
claimed.
The gas lamp.
Like, there's a lot more money than that, but never.
Yes.
That $180 million just went to the donut bar. Okay. Everyone else got another over. It's just between the hotels and everything. It's like, it brings a lot of money in.
Yes.
I remember overhearing Dana and I were in one of our favorite things to do is after Comic-Con on Monday, whenever we've slept in and we've had food, so the afternoon, right? Like,
right.
Like we've had breakfast at like
your
1 in the
morning
afternoon, right? Like we're we sort of like wander back down to the gas lamp and we just watch things getting put away, right? And we watch everything quieting down, and that's one of our favorite things to do. And I remember we were outside of the convention center or somewhere around, and there were Starbucks people, but they were like official, like district or high level Starbucks people, right? And they were talking about the Starbucks in the convention center. And you could tell, like, one guy was trying to kind of train the other guy, right? And the other guy was like, I mean, this is, like, he's flipping through papers, and he's like, this is a lot of, and the guy's like, yeah, we're going to run out. And he was like, and you could tell the other guy had been in Starbucks for a long time, right? Like, you could tell he knew what these numbers meant. Like, he knew this is a lot of stuff, right? Yeah. Like, and he's just, like, kind of freaking out about, like, wow, we're buying a lot of muffins, guys. Like, this is a lot of muffins. Like, you could tell, like, and probably, like, anywhere else he would have been, like, right. But the other dude was like, yeah, we're going to run out.
Yeah.
Like, and he finally just turned, and I don't remember the exact words, but he was like, these two Starbucks, like, just the ones in the convention center are going to make more money this weekend than they do the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, there was some stuff, like, and the other guy was just like, but you could tell, like, it was just like, no, you don't understand the level of what's going to happen.
Yeah. Just the pastry devastation that is Comic-Con.
It's like, let me tell you about the darkest year in San Diego Comic-Con history, the year of the croissant riot.
And he's like,
I'm
I
not
looked
sure.
it up. I've never heard anything. And he's like, we kept it quiet, but the people know.
I'm not sure if Comic-Con is still the only event that fills the entire convention center, but I mean, literally
believe so.
all the expansions that the convention center has had since
Right.
'94 have been because Comic-Con.
Because
When I was researching the history of Comic-Con for my stream, because I'm still such a teacher, I believe it's the only one that takes up like every square inch and more. That's the thing. It takes up like the whole Gaslamp corner
Yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so
Yeah, it takes up the convention center and both the hotels nearby, with like 3 of the hotels nearby.
like,
Right.
I remember back, way back when we first started vending at Comic-Con, I remember you can go over to Seaport Village and get away from it at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
escape Comic-Con the bubble by going over to Seaport Village.
Right.
Not anymore.
Like the second year we attended, we made sure that I think it was Friday, we didn't go into the vendor hall, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get overwhelmed as an attendee, and we had gotten we'd gotten overwhelmed to the point where, and Dana and I both can get overstimulated. I think everyone can, right?
Mhm.
But we're not typically panic attack people to that extent, and it gave us there was a point where we were both, and at the time we thought we were fighting, but later it was almost like we were both just having a panic attack at each other at the same time, right? You know what I mean?
Sorry, but that's just hilarious. I'm panicking. No, we're panicking.
Because time moves differently in that hall, right?
Yes.
And it does at every convention center, I think. But certainly in that hall, time moves differently. We hadn't eaten the way we should have eaten. We hadn't kept hydrated. You know what I mean? All of those things, plus all the overstimulation, plus we hadn't done a whole lot of Comic-Cons even by then.
We've done one.
It was my first.
One or two. And so it was
we
just
did the one in Phoenix that was a day in the Glendale Convention Center.
Yeah, it was before it got any kind of real So the second year we were so smart, right? And we were just we're not going to go in the vendor hall on Friday, and so we did a couple of panels, and then we went over to Seaport Village and we enjoyed that because you could then.
Was that the year we went to the beach?
No, we went to the Maritime Museum.
Right.
Oh, Star of India.
And yeah, we enjoyed that, and then we
did the boat ride down around the harbor.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
the rest of San Diego, once you got out of the gas lamp, and once you got out of the convention, right there, it was still just a really nice San Diego. You could still, do San Diego.
Right? It's America's finest city.
You could still walk out of Comic-Con at that point, on your own feet. You could leave Comic-Con and get away from it.
Harbor Drive wasn't closed down. It's
Right. It was a completely different thing. I don't know that I'd even, I think now, obviously we work, so we couldn't.
Right.
But, I'm not sure that would even, I think you'd have to get, on a plane to escape Comic-Con.
And you were waiting for the plane, you can't escape Comic-Con.
We used to save up for, inflate our food budget for a couple of nice meals, at the restaurants downtown, because back in the day, that was the shortcut to, I'm going to get a meal quickly. I'm going to not have to wait in line. That used to work.
Right.
And it totally doesn't work anymore. The most expensive restaurant in Gaslamp is still packed.
Wasn't the most expensive one? Don't they now just shut down for the convention and just do private parties? The Lou and Mike.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
Yeah, things like Lou and Mickey's
The
and stuff.
really high-end stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that may be one of the few restaurants I've never been in.
Yes. What you say about getting away from the con, you're right. Even you get up to where we used to live in Mira Mesa, and, there's signs in a few of the places for Welcome Comic-Con, and you see people with badges, and, you're talking 30, 40 minutes out of downtown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Because
And there are warnings for the mass transit about, yes, the trolleys are, that was a relatively recent thing. The trolleys, during Comic-Con, now they run 24/7, but back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
they ran by the regular schedule. But even after doing the,
I do
doing
too.
more trolley runs, they still have signs all around the suburbs going, Yeah, you might not get on the trolley this week.
So now 2 years ago we stayed at the resort at Hotel Circle. That's like right
Town and
on
Country.
Town and Country. That's like right
Oh,
on
the
the
Town and
trolley stop.
Country.
Which actually, if you have
Love
to
it.
stay far out, because literally our walk to the trolley station was closer than our walk to the bus stop for the free
Yeah.
shuttle.
Yeah.
You
What?
go across the bridge to Fashion Valley?
And,
Yep.
yeah, and you just get
Yeah.
and we were at the back of the property where our hotel was, so it was quiet. It was just a quick walk. Like that was
Yeah.
great, right? But
Perfect.
they literally, and I thought this was so great. The transit authority literally had a couple of transit workers at a table beside the machine where you buy your tickets and stuff
Yeah.
at the different stops, and a police officer, which is good because a lot of people only had cash.
Yeah.
And they were literally like either walking people through how to buy the tickets and how they worked and how you were going to make sure
That's awesome.
how, because once you get your card or your ticket, you've got to click it on the thing on your way in,
Right.
and you don't want to get in trouble having bought the ticket by not actually using it properly. And they were just, which was great because if you come from a big city where you do public transport a lot, it's pretty easy to figure out. Like
Right.
it's a really
Right.
easy system. But
But
if you've
everybody
never
comes to Comic-Con from all over.
if you've never done any of that, you're just like, and it's like they fixed that one problem, right? Like they've just that's the thing I like about like not only San Diego Comic-Con but San Diego. I feel like every time there's a problem, because I'm sure like for years they've had transit cops who were doing that because they do check, right? They ride and they check everybody's, and I'm sure they had so many people that were like, well, I bought this. You wanted me to keep the thing. I have the receipt. Like and people that were trying to do the thing and they just couldn't figure out how to do. Like I'm sure, and finally they're like, we're gonna
I
fix
figured it out. Mass transit in San Diego used to be awful, much like just Southern California in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that's actually very close to what happened. So mass transit in general was a relatively new thing. So San Diego, the trolley was within our time there.
No, it used to be terrible, but they've
Yeah.
made a lot of improvements.
They've made a lot of
and
improvements,
Now
yeah.
it's nearly inadequate.
Well, it needs to be more of it. It's like I'm so spoiled up here in this part of Oregon because the Max is amazing. It goes everywhere. The only problem with mass transit in San Diego now is that it doesn't go to enough places. It's like, more please.
I think it's hard to build fast enough, if that makes sense. I think that's
Yeah,
one of
it
the-
is for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when they've left no room for that kind of thing because everybody's going to drive their cars.
They've actually done a really good job with the buses over just the last few years because
Yeah.
it wasn't too long ago when like you couldn't get a bus on a Sunday.
Right.
Like you got one shot to get a bus on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know like because so many cities are being like they're not subsidizing as much as we think they are, and so it's like traveling that line of like, okay, we only want to put spots where they'll pay for themselves really quickly instead of like investing in an area. Like,
Yeah.
man, that's a whole nother discussion.
Come for Comic-Con, stay for infrastructure.
You can't
It's Infrastructure Week.
right? You can't. It's
Infrastructure
always
week,
infrastructure week. Every week should be infrastructure week.
It should
You
be.
can't have a big convention and expect to make a lot of money unless you got the infrastructure in place, people.
True
I
facts.
saw kind of a dumb thing online on one of my vendor forums where somebody was like, if they can do virtual cons for free, then how come I have to pay so much for a table at a show? And I was like, yeah. And you had like 4 different people that just answered with like memes of just like, yeah.
Here, Ashley, even Jane got us this as a gift, and I think it's appropriate.
Yes.
I shall read aloud for the group. Sometimes being unique and rare means you have to resist the urge to impale others.
True
Well,
facts.
so many people just started like listing the stuff that comes in a show.
Yeah.
They're like, do you like roofs? Like, do you like floors? Those cost
I like
money.
walls.
That's
If
the
you
rules
like
you have.
walls, then I suggest you
I mean,
pay for your booth.
I've done shows outside before, and it's not great.
Oh, God, no.
And
we
even
could do
then,
a
you
whole
got
thing
paid
just
for
like-
the
You
parking
still
lot
gotta
or
pay
whatever
for
you're
something,
in.
even if the show's outside. Almost always, they're like,
We do not. We speak of Witchapalooza. I mean, stuff over. We had an Amish barn raising because shit was, oh my god, it was so bad. But yeah, if you want stuff, you do have to pay for stuff, and you want payment to be fair. But yeah, you do have to. Man, though, when it comes to the virtual stuff, I gotta say, something I would love for San Diego to keep doing is, with the price of our booth, I kind of like that I'm part of a virtual exhibit
Thank you
hall
for the
right now
follow,
that
Ahmed.
anyone can access.
Thank you, Ahmed Kappa.
We gotta follow.
This
Woo!
I'm all like, because the
Gary,
text is
Gary,
too
Gary,
tiny
Gary,
for my
Gary.
old eyes.
I love. Okay, I'm sorry. I love this. The comment. I would pay a surcharge to use someone else's feet during SDCs.
Truth.
Right?
Yes.
Can I-
Like,
Can I have
True
robot
facts.
feet? I want robot feet just for the show. Just give me a segue. Get out of the way, everybody.
yes.
Mhm.
Ah,
Coming
Segway
soon
stopping
to a
production
near
finally.
Damn it!
you.
How will we ever do conventions again?
End of an era for nerds.
Yeah, that is the convention center is now a half mile long from wall to wall. So if you go and walk, just one
Yeah.
set of booths and then come back the other way to another set of booths, it's like that's a mile. So yeah, that is the one thing that has been consistent since we've been going is wear comfortable shoes. My cosplayer friends, I've lost track of how many pairs of shoes I have kept under my table for my cosplayer friends because I needed to wear my heels and I can't wear my heels anymore. I'm just like, you know what? Cosplay characters that wear sneakers, that is my best advice to cosplayers for
Yes.
when we can have San Diego Comic-Con again in the future. But if you're attending, my God, stay hydrated and wear comfortable shoes. Come on, people.
I don't remember which cosplayer it was. It was someone that we see every year. But some of y'all make it really hard for me to know who the hell you are because you look different every time. So
Like, I guarantee you weren't blue yesterday.
right.
Dude's come up to our booth in a full face mask. Remember me?
No,
Yes.
No.
no, I
That
don't
was not
remember
at San
you.
Diego, at least. That was not at San Diego, but it was just like you might be a little bit narcissistic, and it would be fine if it was a joke or if they said, "Oh, of course not, I was wearing a mask." But they were like really upset that I didn't remember them from the day before. I'm like, I don't even remember myself. Hey, you're wearing a mask. What the hell? I was just like, okay.
I
Right.
have a little bit of a problem with face recognition anyway. So when you add
Yeah.
when you add the fact that your face is different every time,
Like,
that's gonna make it worse.
I've had full face mask people do that to me. I just go,
We're like, but
and then they
No.
go, "Oh, right, yeah."
not
We can take
even-
off their head.
not
We
even.
have perfected the. Oh yeah, hey, how you doing?
I mean,
Yes.
I
It's
try
good
to
to
do
see
that, but like,
you.
there's a point where I'm like, were you different before? Like an entire different person? Then probably not. Because honesty at some point just is gonna happen. But no, one of our regulars came by and she was just so excited because she'd gotten into like the casting and the foam and some of the higher end, and she's like, I only used it on my feet for all my costumes this time. And she had gone through and actually created like boots and special like foot like to fit the over old tennis shoes. And I was
Wow.
like, so smart. And they didn't look like tennis shoes until she turned it over and you're like, oh look, those are Reeboks.
You get the owl of smirk.
I know, I was like, that's super, super smart.
Smart owl.
Owl of smartness. That's genius.
Ashley's always bringing in the hard truth, Oscar Wolf.
Whether she means to or not.
I love the first year that because like you pointed out I think yesterday I don't know what day it is stupid quarantine
Days.
you're sitting behind a booth. We never sit,
This week, it's not the quarantine. It's legitimately we're doing con stuff every day, and so
right?
it's the same as every year.
But it's like normally we stand, but the first year I finally got those foam pads that like they have a handle and you can stand on them.
Yes.
It was like, thank you, Jesus. I mean, I am an atheist, but I found religion at that moment again. It was just like, oh, there you went, religion. Welcome back. Thank you, God.
Yeah, last year, Ashley, while we were setting up, Ashley went scavenging, and she found some pads, some of the foam pads that I think the Hallmark booth had thrown out.
Bits and pieces that I took back and I put together like a puzzle with some tape.
It's a miracle.
It was great.
It was
we
the best.
had a foam pad on our booth for the first time ever in San Diego. It was amazing. Thank you for the follow, Twitchy Snow Tracks.
Ooh! Hooray! Tens. Told you, tens of followers.
Tens!
Even with the carpet, another thing, San Diego Comic-Con is, well, you know how biased I am in favor of this show, and I know they've had problems and haven't always been great to everybody. I know that, but I can still be like, but they've done good by so many people. The booths, they're expensive, but you get that carpet, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
God, carpet and electricity.
Carpet and electricity.
That makes a huge difference. No, their show does that. But even with the carpet, it's like you still need that pad. And our friend Bruce, who helps out in the booth when I am sitting, like doing a sketch or something, then he can use that pad when he's sitting on the floor hiding from people. Very multi-purpose. I bought two of them, one for you and one for me. And I use them when I'm working even here at home because I have a standing desk, Vera desk that I can raise up and down.
Yeah.
Because I just can't sit still for very long. And also I'm like, do I need my butt to be wider? Let's stand up, girl. So I stand on it while I'm working. And then I'm just like, it's like I'm back at a con again. And then I get anxious and I'm like, yep, just like back at a con.
I do
Say
a lot of
What?
I do a lot
Yeah, I was like, I recognize that name. It's like, I know that name. Twitchy Snow Tracks. Really? Tracy, Twitchy Snow Tracks? That's adorable.
Welcome to Twitching.
And Ashley, you know our friends, the Rosses.
The Rosses, yeah.
How are
And
you
so
all
that
doing?
is Tracy. Happy verbal belated birthday to Tracy.
Happy birthday. I don't know.
that's awesome.
That was like synchronized swimming clapping. That was just amazing.
We don't know the things we do.
That was incredible. I'm glad you were here for that, Tracy. We're just shooting the shit and talking about Comic-Con and stuff.
Basically what we do all the time, just on video.
One of the things that I've been really impressed about, and it's not just San Diego, but just I think that they're a really good example of it. And it's a thing that when I see people ask, like, oh, I want to put on a show, what can we do to make our show great, or what can we learn, or whatever. If you watch San Diego over the years, they make as many mistakes as everyone else, because mistakes are easy to make, right? And when you put the number of people in a building that they're trying to put into a building, I think it's very easy for the mistakes to multiply. But I don't see the same mistakes year after year.
Yeah, they always fix something.
More than anybody else, it's always new mistakes.
And sometimes trying to fix something makes it worse.
Right.
But
or
you can
break something else.
Right, but you can definitely see that they were trying to fix something.
Yeah.
And
You have 1 week. Dane, you and I, we draw all the time and stuff, right? They have 1 week to get everything right.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's an insane business.
Well, I mean, just look at this year. This year, the MFers nearly fixed Pandemic. I mean, this with all the downloadable assets and all the panels still going on and stuff. It's like...
Right, exactly.
And I mean, I'm wearing my badge.
Got the badge.
So you can
No, I killed my badge. I'm sorry, Carl Urban. I'm so sorry, Carl Urban. Now I'm gonna get kicked out.
The first time I really we were still attendees, and I forget if it was the first or second year we attended. I noticed that the trash cans in the vendor hall were beyond full. Like, they had become a danger. Some of them were so full, and even, like, you could tell, like, vendors had put boxes and stuff around, and they were trying to stack things up, but there were too many people, and the stacks had started to go, and you were seeing people trip and fall on the mounds of trash. Like, it had become a danger, right? And that was the thing I noted, because I was working on a staff for a different Comic-Con, so I went home and was like, we gotta make sure that we have enough, that the convention center is staffing enough people to keep the trash, because that's a problem.
Yes.
But the next year we went out, and every year since then, you see people probably 24 hours a day, those poor people, but at least during the entirety of the convention, like inside with the carts, just constantly emptying trash.
Yep.
Like there are
We always
multiple people
wave
on
and
the
say
floor.
hi to our trash person.
Yeah.
Right, and
We
their
get some-
whole job every day is to just slowly, because they can't go fast,
No.
work their way through the floor, fill up the trash, take it out.
Yep.
Come back, fill up the trash. Oh, wipe down a spill, leave some Kleenex or napkins with you, take the trash out.
Every time I get to go to the restroom, there's someone in there cleaning it, and that was the thing that they're like, because we have to do that now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember when the ATMs, when we were attendees, the ATMs started running out of cash,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
and that's what led to the croissant riot. But anyway, call back. So the next year they're like, we are, we'll put in more ATMs, temporary ATMs. It's just like, I remember as attendees, we went to, I think they still do this. I'm not 100% sure that they still do this, but every year on Sunday they have a San Diego Comic-Con give us feedback panel.
Yeah, I believe
Right.
they still do. Every year I've checked,
And-
it's still there.
We only went once, and I remember whoever was speaking at the time said, well, every year we try to solve a new problem. So it's like, oh, this year we caught on fire. Okay, well, but next year we'll make sure that we don't catch on fire. And so
Right.
the next year comes, and we didn't catch on fire, but then there were meteors. And so, okay, so next year we'll be prepared for meteors. And you know what they do? They really work on, once again, nonprofit organizations. So the money that comes in goes back into making the show run smoothly. No other convention that I know of provides a shuttle service for free
I mean,
for people to get around downtown and to their hotels and stuff.
C2E2
That's not
does.
cheap.
C2E2 does.
Oh, okay.
C2E2
What?
does.
Fantastic.
Cool. Very
There's a-
good.
yes,
Yeah,
there's
no.
I want
Good.
more of that.
Yes.
for
They
me.
do, yeah.
No, I
Fantastic.
agree with you. Well, and I think too, like, to me, again, that's a sign. I think that one of the things I love about San Diego is that I get to see what I consider really good organization in practice, and then I can apply that when I'm looking at other shows, right?
Yeah.
Because there are less now, but in the past there were a lot of really good shows happening, or what could be really good shows, and you got to choose, right? And that's a good way, I think, to choose, like, because it's not just San Diego. We've seen that with other shows that I'm sure we all have our favorites, and we've seen that with other shows. But that was a really early lesson for me. Like, it's not, does the show make mistakes? It's how do they fix those mistakes? How do they address them? How do they deal with them?
Right. San Diego to me is like the gold standard for that. And their response to exhibitors, somebody said something about potatoes yesterday.
Everybody dab.
Am I doing this right? Too old
Close
for
enough.
this. Wait, people, oh my god, you have the make me dab. I really need to up my Twitch game. Because I'm like, I don't even, how do I get people to make me dab? I dab for free. I dab for free.
You're welcome, Oscar Wolf.
It's
I'll
nice.
jazz hands for free. I gotta figure this
We're
shit
not
out.
gonna put a paywall in front of our dabbing.
It's the one that I really love is the Make Me Save.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times Dane's been working on something on the computer, and then that one gets redeemed, and Dane has to go over and give it a name because he's been working on it for 2 hours and hasn't even done that. Yes, James,
Terrified
that is
Days.
the appropriate response. So our followers get to help Dane be more responsible, is what I'm saying.
I mean, luckily, Adobe Illustrator is put in an autosave, so I don't lose everything if something crashes, but yeah.
I need to pet my owl.
Yes, Dancing Groot, I do remember that. Was that at Awesome Con last year?
That was so slow, we learned to...
We tried to learn to floss? Yeah.
Yeah, that was at AwesomeCon, I think.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was...
Oh, don't make us bring out our dear Flint, Michigan. $5.
Oh,
$5.
no.
This was in the very early days where we were trying things out, and we went to Michigan because our friend Randy
Right.
was there, and he was the one that I worked on the comic book with and stuff. So that was even before, or just after
That was
Vampire,
many
soon
years
after.
ago. That was about 2006 or 2007.
Yeah, because Little Vampires was 2007, so
Yeah.
we did a few things before that. Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what today is. Why am I trying to remember years? But yeah, there are some shows that are really slow. San Diego Comic-Con is not one of them.
Right.
Though there have been years where there have been days where it's like really slow because there's big panels and stuff like that. But overall, the show is just action-packed.
I actually, so I know that a lot of people were really upset when they moved to you can't buy a full pass, you have to buy like individual days.
Right.
I know that people were super, super angry, but I actually do feel like it leveled out the floor a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it helps.
Because we were in small press for years, and Saturday in small press was just quiet. Like the only people we would get would be people that were overwhelmed, and they would be like, "I saw a quiet place on the floor, and I went there," and I'd be like, "Cool, so let's talk." And we'll calm down, and it's cool. And they're like, "But you have so much," and I'm like, "Shit, I'm making it worse."
Those people then ran into Bob the Angry Flower, and they were like, "Oh shit!
Oh my god!"
Yeah, exactly.
I'm being attacked. But like it was very much, and you could see our numbers. Like it would be slowly, and then Saturday, boom, and then it'd be back, and I don't see that as much anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like the daily passes are.
Yeah.
There is a slow build, but it's still much more even. And I think that was, I actually think that was good for everyone.
Yeah.
I love that because when I worked retail decades ago, you know what? Being busy was its own kind of difficult, but I hated the days where there were no customers.
Yes.
I'm like, I just keep me busy so I don't think about my inadequacies, please. Okay.
Way to bring out the dread.
Right? It's like, distract me. You come over here.
Dread.
Talk about something.
Well, and also, like, I feel like it's here. There's this weird line. I think sometimes people act like there's a difference in terms of, oh, well, if you do something to be good to the vendors, then that's going to hurt attendees, or it's going to be bad for the show, or if you do something that's good for the show, it's bad for attendees. Well, like, I don't think so most of the time, right? Like, most of the time, I think that you can find things that are good for everyone. Like, and I think that was the case. Again, even though people were angry, I feel like more people got a chance to really schedule their days. Because there is a lot of stuff to do in San Diego outside of the con. So if you got 2 days, you could spend 2 days doing something else.
Right.
Right? Like, you didn't have to. And so you also got to see San Diego. And you got to be a little more aware and a little less overwhelmed on the days that you were at the con.
Look, change is hard, and when it's not all about you, Karen, it's hard. We all know this, but San Diego's like, look, we're trying to make the best experience for as many different people as possible. Yes. So that's it. That's all. It's fine to, complain amongst your friends and stuff, but don't be like threatening the con org like there's somehow, attacking you personally. It's like, get in line with the other 130,000 people. Sometimes you just have to accept that you are part of a bigger society. Yeah, this pretty much sums up just our politics in general, not just about conventions. But it's like, you know what? We are awesome individuals and are important, but we're also part of a large group. So balance things out,
Well, and that was a discussion. A friend sent me a podcast that I listened to that was sort of talking about like Comic-Con and the history of it. And I think the person who did the podcast was very interested in the movie and Hollywood side of things, like the big companies and marketing and
the left side of the floor.
Right. Well, I was talking to them because there were a lot of statements that were made, like blanket statements, that I think personally, it's like that's true of a small subset. Right, like that. If that's all you consume, then that could be true for you. But San Diego Comic-Con is not that. And they walked away with this idea that San Diego Comic-Con is great because they're very exclusive and they're very tight, and because only a limited number of people get to enjoy it, blah blah blah, and that we're losing that. And I was like, I think that they should. I feel like they should have actually tried to talk to literally anyone on staff at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Because I feel like watching them over the years, I feel like that's not what they, like, I feel like they acknowledge that there's some built-in exclusivity, but that they're literally going out of their way over and over to try to open it up to more people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel like.
They have limits, physical limits.
What I
They're
always
doing what they
say
can.
about San Diego is whatever smaller con experience from years ago you think you missed, whatever kind of con you like, it's in there.
You can find it somewhere in that.
In the hall somewhere, literally. It's like half a dozen cons in the hall somewhere.
There is still a small press area
Yeah.
where we got started,
Yes.
where people can today still get started, and the price has. I mean, look, price is just it makes everything harder. But the
Right.
small press area is still priced in a very accessible. What I think it's about $500-600.
It's like 500 now, I
$500,
think,
Which is like
For
for a table.
What?
given
Only
the rest
reason-
of that
Right.
floor, yeah.
For
Right, that's the
San
thing.
Diego Comic Con,
Like San Diego
okay?
Comic Con, like they subsidize the
Yeah.
small press
Yeah.
in the Artist Alley. That's part
Right.
of their whole nonprofit mission thing. Like,
Right.
Right.
Like there's a point to which those of us that have a larger booth on the floor are also somewhat subsidizing that, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because
So okay with that.
we did small press for 5 years.
6
Was it 6?
6 years.
We
I did the
won.
math.
we tried, like, we did small press for a
We
long,
did a
long
few.
time, and we wanted to be elsewhere, but that was where you were able to still get in. And to this day, someone who has never gotten into to San Diego Comic Con can still apply, and not this year,
Right.
obviously, but like in the future, we'll still be able to show up and have a floor and have a presence at San Diego Comic Con. And how, like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
That $500, some Artist Alley tables cost that much, much smaller shows,
Comic Con.
and
That's true.
you're gonna get your money's worth.
I will bring logic into every house of worship. Try and stop me.
And once you're in there in small press, if you're in there flourishing for a few years, there's a pretty good chance that you'll be able to move up if you want to.
Well,
Or stay there. Freaking
Or stay there
Bob,
if you want to.
Bob the
yeah.
frickin' Angry Flower, man. Do you know the story behind how he got into small press?
No.
Okay, so he was a presence there when we were attending. So this is the early '90s, I believe.
Yeah,
He'd
back
already
in '94, he was already a thing.
right. He was already a
Generations
thing.
ago.
There are some traditions like the Elvis Trooper and stuff that were
Right.
just from year to year throughout Comic Con have stuck around. And Bobby Angry Flower, who I forget the guy's actual name, but publishes a comic called Bobby Angry Flower. It's about a guy named Bob who's an angry flower, does what it says what it does. And he came to Comic Con one year with some of his books, his self-published books, and he noticed there was an empty table in the small press area. So he took it, and he's been there ever since.
Wow.
I mean, he applied formally the next
Yeah,
year.
the next
but-
year he was, above
Okay, I was
board,
about to
but
say, he just shows up.
it was just like squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights. But it's just like, yeah, and I mean, he's recognizable because he wears a cardboard cutout of flower petals around his face
Yes.
and will angry flower at you.
that's not the only reason.
So yeah, our friends Paul and Darlene, cool jerk, they've been in small press forever.
Yeah.
But there's still turnover there so that someone could get started the way that we did.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
still to this day, that to me is amazing.
and they're jurying, and there are people and that there's anger there too because things are changing, right? Some people
Right.
have been in for years, but part of the fun about a juried process is that everyone has a chance,
Yep.
Right.
and that's exciting, right? And that keeps, and again, I think it's good for not only new people coming in to still have the chance, but it's also good for attendees because
Yes.
there's a lot of really great stuff in the small press section. Stuff you won't see anywhere else. People that are so excited to talk to you about this thing that they made, right?
Right.
Like,
And there's more
Yeah.
diversity in the small press area than just about anywhere else on the floor.
and-
So, if you're concerned about, well, how do they select? No, I don't know the secrets, but you can see the results when you walk through small press, and it's like, it's not just all dudes doing the dream of the 90s and wanting their comic books to become movies. It's a really amazing part of the floor.
Well,
Now, that being said, come spend money at our booth and then go to
Yes.
small press, okay?
well, we're closer to the door, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
Just
just
not
makes
bad.
sense.
It just makes
And,
it's just
and we'll
not-
help too. We'll help direct you to small press because
Yeah.
we love those
Yes.
people. So we'll tell you how to get there.
We both know the way.
Catch me on the right day, I may walk you over
Right.
there.
Because the bathrooms back there are better than the
Yes.
bathrooms at the front in terms of
Oh, lordy, yes.
in terms of if you want a less of a line.
Oh no, my secret, and this applies only to people who use the women's restroom. But you go up to the mezzanine, and you go around the fan tables. You go up the escalator, you turn left, you go past the fan tables. Go as fast as you can, because some of the fan tables, I love them, but they are a little scary. They're the scary cousins of the Geek World.
Yeah.
And you go past them towards the concession stand with the crunchy hot dogs, and you make a right down the hallway where there are rooms where people are doing like tabletop gaming and like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that hallway. That women's restroom, there's never a line there because there are not a lot of female presenting people in that area. So you know what? Use those stereotypes to your advantage. It's like, wow, there are not a lot of women in the gaming area. I can pee faster.
Right.
Well, and there's.
What did you like to know about fan tables, Oscar Wolf? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You were saying.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, also there's a lot of places and little corners in that convention center that people just don't know about.
Oh, there's so much. The mezzanine, yeah. There's the exhibit hall on the first floor, and then you go up the escalators. Oh, so slowly. Or you run up the stairs, because that's the only like moving exercise you're going to get is going to the bathroom if you work a booth. You go up there, and there's the mezzanine level, and it is like there's this, Star Trek fan club. I think 501st has a table up there, and
brown coats.
So basically, the sci-fi conventions that they have in San Diego that we used to attend or exhibit at.
Yeah.
They have their organizations up there, and they're just kind of around the edge of the mezzanine. And if you go outside onto this beautiful like balcony that overlooks San Diego Bay,
and you
the Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA, they have a table up there too. And they, I believe to this day, I mean, at least they did up until last year, they have sword fights out on the balcony, like scheduled sword fights to get
full contact SCA style.
Yeah,
armor, not boffers. No disrespect to boffers, but this is
like
different.
full on SCA hardcore stuff. So those fan tables like ring the mezzanine, Babylon 5. That just and they have been there since we've been attending.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that are still doing the old traditions of handing out ribbons if you can answer
yes.
and
or
the
doing
fun stuff like that.
The scavenger hunts.
See, that convention is there. You just gotta look for it,
right?
Well, that's.
But sometimes they get bored and they're a little scary, and you're like, "I'm so sorry. I'd like to hear more about your Federation Starship group, but I need to pee."
Like,
I'm on my way for burritos. Can't talk right now.
Yes.
Well,
oh Lord, you can't get burritos inside the convention center.
No. Okay, another secret. Outside the back of the hall.
Yes, this is the burrito place.
Go down the stairs, turn left, go around to the back parking where they have all the loading area and all the star trailers.
Yeah.
There's a little burrito cart. So good. And they're there all weekend till like late.
And it'll be some of the cheapest food you buy all weekend.
Yes.
And the portions are huge.
Yes.
They make that money though.
Like there's like an $8 quesadilla, and these tortillas are like this big. Like I'm not even. And so when you get it, they cut it and then they like mash it into pieces to get it to fit into
in their little trays because they're using little paper trays.
Like to fit into the container, right?
Right.
And Dane brought me back the quesadilla, and he was like, "It was $8." And I was like, "For a quesadilla?" And then I opened it,
it's
and
like
it
a
had
pound
like
and a half of food.
It was like a half pound of cheese and a half pound of meat and a half pound of it. And I opened the thing, and it was like unfolding massive cake.
So good.
So yeah, like highly, and also like until they run out, and they run out every single day. But until they run out, their cans of soda are like $1 or $2.
Yeah,
which are going to be some of the cheapest sodas available to regular attendees within like a 10 square block radius.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and the dude that runs the thing, like I think they're siblings or something, because there's a dude that runs it in the morning because their breakfast stuff is great, and then there's a dude that runs it during the lunch. And I think they just wear out, and then somebody else has to tap in.
Yeah. Well, and they'll switch out the trucks. They switch out trucks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like these guys.
Like they basically run one truck dry, move
and
in
then
another.
bring it. They're not even reload filling. They're just like, well, this one's out. Like, bring in the But
I thought when we can do it, I'm being hopeful. When we can do this again next year, I hope the wonderful folks that walk around the floor with the garbage carts, I hope they just like bring a backpack with them and walk around and like, hey, I got popsicles. They would make so much money. I was like, here, $20. Give me one.
Give me one.
Give me one. I will give you $20
Did you
if
say?
you beat me possible, or just like carry around a subtle cooler kind of thing, like a strap, or just like hey exhibitor, because sometimes you don't have time to run out and get a burrito.
Popsicle bandolier.
Popsicle. There you go, Dane. In addition to your magnificent marker bandolier, you need a popsicle bandolier.
The pendolier on one side, the popolier on the other side, just cross them.
Oh yeah,
Double
burritos
fist
at
pop-
SDC are amazing.
Yes.
If you know where the cart is, the food. Oh, it's so good.
Secret card.
Well, and also they're really good at putting only if you want to order something specific. They're very good at that, even as busy as they are.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I went in because I was feeling a little weird, and I wanted a breakfast burrito with very specific things, right? And I was like, is it going to be a problem if I order a burrito, but then I want a bunch of stuff taken out and a bunch put in? He's like, I might charge you for some of it, and I'm like, that's cool. And he's like, cool. And I was like, and I basically Frankensteined my burrito, and it was perfect.
Yep.
Because I was like, I don't want potatoes, but I want extra bacon because today is a bacon morning, and I want and he was
Every
like,
morning is
and
a
I
bacon.
want the veggies.
I like you.
What,
I like you when you're feeling woozy. You reject the potatoes.
That's why I love her.
Sometimes the potato. I don't know. It wasn't a potato morning. It was a bacon morning.
Yes.
So, but it came out and it was perfect. And when you have a line that long and they're going that fast.
Yeah.
And it was ready in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and cheap, which is hard. San Diego Comic-Con, I do understand the complaints, but it's like, what can you do? It's really expensive to attend and exhibit. Just, of course, everything around there. I mean, San Diego is not a cheap city to begin with.
Right.
But it's like knowing secrets like that, it's just like...
Yes.
And, of course, we just bring our food. We bring our very classy single packets of Spam to put on our low-carb tortillas with our packets of mayonnaise that we steal from Burgerville.
That's the...
You bring fancy mayonnaise all the way from
Okay, hold on
Yeah.
though.
Oh, yeah.
You don't. I'm gonna point of order.
Respect, Dane.
Point of order.
Point of order. God.
Unless you just want the street cred from the stealing, you're not just walking in there and going and then leaving. You're ordering food. You're not.
Yeah, fair.
Look, everyone thinks I'm all like nicey nice and stuff, but sometimes I take more packets of Splenda than Starbucks than I need.
I like that you looked over your shoulder to make sure nobody was listening.
Like
You're
you're
just
Right? I mean, seriously, that's
What,
like...
your neighbors don't know you're the Splenda woman? Come on. They know.
I'm hardcore. I've been known to take 3 or 4 extra packets of Splenda from Starbucks.
We're living a double life. Neighbors have no idea.
Well, one of the things I think is actually really great, because there are shows that give you trouble as a vendor. San Diego, by the way, we walk right in with our cooler.
Yeah.
Like our little mini cooler.
You know vendors
every
gotta
morning
eat.
with our
They know the
sodas
food
in
there
it.
is shit. The food in the convention... I'm sorry, I love San Diego and I love that convention center, but the food inside there is shit.
It's
Garbage.
garbage.
And the thing is, if you walk in with water or snacks or a cooler with the little drinks, we're not bringing in a giant. We're obviously, if you're obviously not trying to compete with them, you're just trying to feed and water yourself.
Right.
They don't give a shit because they're not there to be fighting with you about small scale shit like that, right?
Right.
And you see attendees like Jim is talking about his backpack cooler and whatever.
Yep.
They're not there to fuck with you about it. Because they know that the line to Starbucks midday is going to be an hour long anyway. Your one little person not being in that line is going to break them. No, right?
Yeah, their concessions are already effectively over capacity.
Right.
So
Right.
why does it matter if somebody brings in a can of soda?
But I will.
Exactly.
I never regret waiting in line for those Mrs. Fields pretzels the Mrs. Fields cookies. And is it Wetzel's pretzels that they have there? I forget.
I've never
Auntie
stood.
Anne's.
Auntie
The
Anne's.
only
Anne's.
concession lines I've ever stood in San Diego are the Starbucks lines.
I have spent my time in the Starbucks lines.
I've met people. So Tuesday setup day. I'm usually setting up by myself. Some years he's been able to help, but because of day job, sometimes not.
Right.
Sometimes Bruce has helped, but most years I haul all the stuff up from my car and set up the booth by myself. And I always give myself time to. I do go out for lunch on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays I usually bring my lunch, but on Tuesdays I go out just to see down San Diego and see them setting stuff up and everything. But I also give myself at least an hour to wait in the Starbucks line, because even Tuesday it's crowded because all the exhibitors who are very hot and sweaty because they don't always turn on the air conditioning on setup days. So I have met people in line for the Starbucks that have later become fans of my work and stuff. Like, that's how I met, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he is in the 501st. And we just started talking about cool geeky stuff. And the next year at Comic-Con, he was the one that I arranged with. It's like, okay, your cosplay group, tell them this secret password, and then I'll have 10 of this print. And if you come up with the secret and you say this, I think it's like, help me coffee, you're my only hope, then I will sell them the print. It just became this thing because I was in line for Starbucks meeting other cool people. It's like, just even that annoying waiting in line can be part of the magic of
It's like
Comic-Con.
the French Village episode of Portlandia, but real.
Well, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, because the one thing that I think that, to go back to that thing I listened to that I was kind of unimpressed with, but the one thing that I really thought they got right was the positive feeling at San Diego, right?
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times, like, I've stood in that line and I've watched people, like, basically sell other people on something they were excited about, right? Or they've become best friends. Like, you can see people that are from different parts of the country, different parts of whatever, like, because someone's wearing cosplay or they're wearing a t-shirt or they're carrying some art or something, and like, oh my god, I love this thing too. And
Night
suddenly,
dancing group.
Night dancing group, have a good night. And because, like, you've had that hour, right? By the end of the hour-long time that they're exchanging numbers or they're exchanging Twitter contacts or whatever. Like, that is beautiful. But I've also literally seen people like, oh my god, where did you get that t-shirt? Where did you get that piece of art? Where did you get that book that I see you're reading? That book looks amazing. What? The person's like, oh my god, this is my favorite author, and I stood in line for 10, however long to get their signature. But you, like, I don't know if they're signing again this weekend, but you could totally pick it up. Let me tell you exactly where you can pick this up because I want you to be able to read it or whatever. And like,
no, people really like to share the joy. I think there was one year after we started exhibiting, I think it was the first year they did the online badge sales. And let's just say they got a lesser quality of geek or something. That was the one year where I was like, oh my god, people were rude for like the first time.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Like there've always been, like, incidences and stuff. It was like the famous pen in the eye. Oh my god, people. But this was the first year where I was walking around the floor, just trying to get to the bathroom or something, where I was actively being pushed and shoved. It happened like every time. And then the next year, it was gone, and everything was back to being positive again. Yeah. So it's just like, suck it, haters. Can't take this away from us. You can't take the con from me.
Well, that's like my favorite part of every show, like every con, but it just, I see so much of it at San Diego, and I mean, for all that there are a lot of people trying to sell everyone on things, there's also just so many people that really, really want to share what they love, and they want to find more of it, and they want to learn about new stuff. Like, I love it so much. Like, it's the best.
You say last year was angsty, Jim?
Last year was great.
I don't know what angsty. Felt angsty.
I feel like last year, because they changed a bunch of stuff with lines and stuff, I feel like people who had gotten really comfortable with the way things were working before, I heard a lot of complaints from some of them. But then I also heard so many people that kind of just dove in and had such great, like, they just had great things happen. Right.
Well, the downside to them fixing problems is that people who are like, oh, actually, cool, that worked for me. Then they try to fix it because it didn't work for the majority of people, and then the folks who it worked for, it's like changing the color scheme of the thing. It's like, daggone it, I liked it when it was the other color. It's like, this color is good, but it's not what I prefer. Yeah, that's the problem with the growing pains and stuff. But
we've all got, like, it's adjusting. I'm not good at adjusting all the time.
No, God, I'm getting way too old for that kind of stuff. Kid Jim, that's sad to hear. There was a weird vibe last year. I did not pick up on that vibe myself, and I think that's just because we finally moved our booth. Thank you for the encouragement, Dane and Ashley. But we finally moved our booth from a really wonderful area next to Oni Press, which, by the way, Dane and Ashley, it looks like Oni has taken over that whole island because they don't want to be next to the Stevie Aoki experience anymore. But anyway. Good job, Oni. So we finally moved to the Flora Independent Press Pavilion where we were visible, and it was just nonstop. And that was the first year we made a profit there. We always take just a little bit of a loss, but that was the first year that was the first year we actually made
Yay!
Because of moving to the floor. So, but yeah, that's the thing. It's such a huge event that absolutely everyone's experience is going to be different, and we just hope that it's positive for everybody. But no, I totally feel you on like that one year where I felt it was angsty for me. Everyone else might have been having a great time. So I think that's a roundabout way of saying your experience was valid, and I'm sorry, but I had a great time. I'm just the nicest human. Sorry. But it's a lot like Disneyland in that way. I will always talk about Disneyland.
It's true.
It's just like, hey, we're talking about colonoscopies. Well, let me talk about Disneyland.
You're right.
It's a lot like Disneyland that way. The crowds, it's overwhelming and it's crazy, but it's like, oh yeah, you will have moments of joy, quite likely, and you will have crazy magical things happen to you despite all the craziness. It's
whether
just
you want
that.
them to or not.
Becky's there to make sure of it.
I'm sorry, what, Dave?
I said whether you want them to or not.
Whether you will have magic.
We're the magic police. Have you had your appropriate amount of magic today, sir?
But God, just like working a booth, it's like there's always all the stories and stuff. But yeah, most of the time it's just you're just working, and then these really amazing things happen, and then you're back to working and talking with people and stuff. Well, but it's 5 days, so odds are something cool is going to happen.
Right, and I feel like working in a booth specifically, we're kind of insulated from everything else. Like not just physically with the tables in the way of everybody else. It's just that we don't get the whole of San Diego Comic-Con when we're there. So
I'm kind of glad sometimes.
Sometimes it's sad, but sometimes it's really good.
Yeah.
I heard about the eye pen thing real fast, but I certainly didn't have to experience any of that in person. Even be in the room.
Things
right?
Kind of took a. Now it's getting big and crazy. I mean, stuff happened. I had a friend Randy had his wallet stolen one year. Things happen. It's a crowd of people. But the whole thing with the pen, that was that took a dark turn. That's when that's the first time we really got a sense of some people here have an amazing sense of entitlement.
Right.
I mean, the pen stabbing was over a seat in Hall H, I believe.
Yep.
It's watch it on YouTube later.
Right.
Get over yourself.
Or maybe sit a row down. You're still in the room.
Right? Yeah. It's ooh, that got dark. But that was after. Yeah, the eye stabbing. The next day, people had T-shirts that were I went to San Diego Comic-Con and all I got was this pen in the eye. So, handled it with our normal geek humor. But that's 50 years of the show, so that was 40 years of the show at the time, and that was the first time something like that had happened.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing that we weren't, because we weren't part of the outside crowd. We're just completely insulated from that.
Yeah, how does outside?
Right.
I still remember the first year they put the carnival Do you remember that? The free carnival out behind?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was so
Cartoon
excited,
Network?
and everybody kept telling me how great the rides were and how much fun they had, and I was like excited for them, but also internally just being like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I want to ride Ferris wheels with cool kids. You. It's really hard to sound happy for somebody when internally you're like,
yeah. And, I'm sorry to hear that, Kid Jim. It was so fun, but there's the red hats.
The red hats.
They ruin everything.
They ruin everything.
Hopefully not.
They do.
Much longer.
But it's like, wow, how are they getting badges? Oh wait, they cheated everything.
Russia.
No, but no, it's so crowded and overwhelming. But I joke, I'm not totally 100% joking, but I joke that's why I got into self-publishing, so I can have a place to sit and eat during San Diego Comic-Con.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't think even if we could get badges, I don't know if we would have continued to be attendees.
Yeah.
At that level, because it's like, okay, we got to see it grow and that was awesome. But yeah, it got overwhelming. But as exhibitors, it's like, okay, yeah, I hope I always get to come back. I hope it comes back.
So what was your first year as an exhibitor? You went for your first attendee was 94.
2007. This year was going to be 14 exhibiting, 13 attending. Last year we were dead even. And this year was going to be the year that exhibiting pulls ahead.
Yep. But yeah, 2007, and that's where Small Press in San Diego. Small Press at San Diego Comic Con 2007 was where Little Vampires premiered, the first book that he handbound.
Good grief, this is going to be our 27th time at Comic Con.
Good Lord, that's too old. I'm picturing that little brown bear now. Too old. Oh, that was wrong. Anyway. Oh, yeah. It's time for me to start to eat dinner because I'm starting to say those things.
I just got back from the concession stand.
Wasn't
our food was right there.
Friday night, we ordered Chinese from our local Chinese place to help them keep going. So it's like, yeah, get that delivered. But anyway, yeah, 2007, I had written the Little Vampires book. I drew it, and we got some printed at a local San Diego printer, and he learned how to post bind a book.
Wow.
And there we go, that was on the table, but it was next to the comic book I was writing that all of like fives of people had bought, but the Little Vampires book was the thing that really caught people's eye, and there you go. That's really, so I'm like, yes, San Diego Comic Con, no matter what happens to it, it will always be the place where I really got started as a full-time independent artist.
So your first year attending was our second year, or your first year of vending was our second year attending. That's
You
fine.
babies! You babies! My sweet summer child.
We also didn't live anywhere nearby. We
that has
something to do with it.
moved to Arizona, so that became drivable.
Hours. It's just 6 hours.
Right.
Right. But before that, we lived in Missouri.
Yeah, that's more than 6 hours.
It turns out it is. Yes.
But when you went to San Diego Comic Con for the first time, did it inspire you like it did me to I know this is true for Steam Crow as well. They're like, I want to do this.
Yeah. Well, so
I've always wanted to do. Going was just like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah. Well, literally, we did a couple of years, 2 or 3 years as attendees, and then 2010 was our first year as a booth on the floor.
Wow.
So yeah, I would say definitely seeing everybody there was like, why don't we do this? This is awesome. This looks great.
Right? And it was just the folks, like I said, back in 1994, you could just walk up to, Denny O'Neil, rest his soul. You could just see Stan Lee walk on the floor.
I couldn't tell you how many times as attendees we just ran into Stan Lee at random.
Stan Lee legs.
Because he just used to wander around.
The first year that we were there, I remember walking around the floor and I was by myself. I don't know where Ashley was. I think she might have been at a panel. And I remember getting pushed real hard from the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I turned around and I hear somebody yelling, "Hey, be careful!" and it's Stan Lee yelling at his security contingent
for abusing
me.
Yep. Dane came back, and we were, oh my god, we were such baby nerds. He came back so excited. He's like, I just got beat up by Stanley's bodyguard. Like, he was so excited.
Of course, we remember back in the day when Stanley didn't have bodyguards.
Yeah, I feel like this may have been his first or second year with bodyguards on the Conde floor.
Well, clearly they didn't know how to act yet.
Right.
Or they did.
I remember going to a panel that was the one with the signing thing, and it was one of the smaller rooms.
Yeah, it was just like a classroom size room.
Yeah,
one of those the A's or B's, not even BB, not even whole D.
Like the first year, I remember going to a show. I remember going the second year because it was the first year after we did Phoenix, the big Phoenix show, as staff, and I had gotten. I was talking to Billy Tan at Phoenix Comic Con, and I was asking him how to do things that he does, and he was like, "Oh, I learned how to do this perspective trick from Amanda Connor." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I asked Amanda Connor, "How do you do this perspective trick?" He's like, "Oh, I learned how to do it from Adam Hughes."
Because he was driving people back to the airport.
Yeah, I was driving people back to the airport.
That's how that happened.
So I'm like, all right, but you can't tell me. She's like, no, I don't have any paper with me. I'm like, okay. So at that year's San Diego Comic Con, I went to Adam Hughes' panel. I was like, hey, I heard about this trick you do, blah, blah, blah. And it was a small panel. It was like maybe 30 people.
And after the panel, he just went up to be like, thanks for doing the panel. It was cool. And
yeah, how do you do this trick? Amanda Connor's Billy Tan told me you do this trick. And so he takes his thing out, his name badge, draws how he does it on the back and hands it to me. He's like, that's how you do it.
Wow.
I know this perspective trick now, Dave. I'm tutoring a wonderful 11-year-old. This is like my main source of income. Okay, only source of income right now. So I'm tutoring an 11-year-old in Kentucky. She's lovely. I love this kid so hard. And her art skill is just zooming. But we're actually working on perspective right now. So I'm like, seriously, I some point in the future, teach me this trick, because I'm just giving her every tool that I have and that I know of to let her run with it, and she is running with it. But it's just like, ooh, perspective tricks, and also you had me at Amanda Connor. I love Amanda Connor.
She's great.
Well, and I think for us that was not only like a lesson in these people that we think are great, that we buy books with their names on them, and that we think are amazing and their stuff. It was also like they're still learning, right? Like they're still
Always.
They didn't just spring from the womb knowing all this cool shit, right? Like they're still like constantly.
Yes, they did actually. They sprang from eggs that were flaming.
But also, so many people in this community are cool and still willing to talk to you. Like they still want to talk about the art, like literally talk about the art and how it gets made and how that stuff happens. And they're so cool that they're still giving each other credit.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not like it's really easy to just be like, yeah, I did this cool thing and this is how. But instead, they're like, I learned it from. Like, so you get that sense of like, and
those are my favorite people. I love those people.
And he had this whole line of them, like, and anyone could have taken credit, right?
Right. Instead, they were like, no, I learned it from.
See, now when you teach me, I can go, oh yeah, I learned this from Dane, who taught it to Amanda Connor and some.
After a while, the telephone game breaks down.
Oh, it is the telephone. There is no. I'm holding a receiver that has no cord. Okay.
Banana phone.
Banana phone. Yes, I'm banana phone. Okay. I'm sorry. Did you expect facts? You fools. But seriously, I need to learn this perspective trick. That's amazing. But yeah, stuff like that. I got Jim Ballant, because I love Catwoman. I still do, but read the comic book. And Jim Ballant just whipped out a ballpoint pen and was just like, let's sketch for you while standing up. It's like stuff like that is magic.
Witchcraft.
I remember attending, and I think it was the Chasing Amy years when Kevin Smith was there. I think promoting Chasing Amy, and he's just at a table. He didn't even have a big long line, and I had a sketchbook. I still have many of these sketches from people, and I was like, and he signs it, but I looked at what he wrote, and he wrote, Becky, I can't draw for shit. Kevin Smith. It's just,
And of course,
That's awesome.
obligatory Stan Lee story. After that panel we were talking about in the small room, he stayed and he talked to everybody, shook every hand. He was, he was that kind of guy, right? And our friend Randy, we had this dippy little ash can of something that Randy had been working on for years. It was terrible. But Randy was proud that he wanted to show it to Stan Lee and give him one and say, thank you, sir, you inspired me, and I just want to, give you this thing that I made. And he gets up there at the front of the line and he says, so Stan Lee takes it, signs it, and hands it back. So now we have our dippy little ash can signed by Stan Lee.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of walking up and just freezing, and Stan just goes, fill the space. Whoop.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Just
Sounds like I
so
know
yeah,
that
I do miss. That's the part of the con that I do miss. I'm fine with change and growth, as you both know. I'm slow, but I still embrace it. But yeah, I do have some nostalgia for the days where you could just walk up to your favorite artist. Greg Rucka, still one of my favorite writers. Really glad the Old Guard's doing good on Netflix. Gotta remember to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
He was right after the No Man's Land arc that so many Batman movies and television shows borrowed from Greg. He wrote that whole, anytime you see a bridge in Gotham blow up, you can thank Greg Rucka.
Right.
So this was when Greg was still so excited. I mean, he's still enthusiastic about the work he does, but this was like he was my level of enthusiastic, and that's just crazy.
Wow.
And so we've got to go up to get his autograph, and I'm talking about the new Hunter series. He's like, okay. He's like, okay, I gotta tell you about this in the issue. Are you okay with me spoiling this? In the next issue, I gotta tell you about this really great scene that I wrote. I can't wait to see. And he just
couldn't contain himself.
He just goes off, and it was just freaking delightful that we had the opportunity to do that. I need to dig out my sketches. I do have some great sketches. Oh yeah, Oscar, I know. I have a list, Oscar.
Yes.
Of things to do.
Same.
Such a list. All right, some of us are working real jobs, okay, Oscar? Okay, some of us have. We've been watching Zumbo's Just Desserts. It's an Australian baking show, which I think you would love.
It is so wholesome.
It's so good.
Some of those moments, though, San Diego still allows those moments to happen.
Yes.
Those moments still,
But now I can sit down at my booth and they just come to me. Come to me, Rick Worthy. Let's talk about Black Panther and how much you like my Frankenstein art. Come to me, darling. I loved you on The Magicians. It's I'm going to sit here and drink this in.
Yeah, I love it when people that I know come up and they're like a couple years ago, what a guy, I forgot his name, Richard Taylor, comes into our booth.
Oh, from Weta. Oh.
Yeah, and he starts talking to me like we're old colleagues, we've just been.
Yes, he's a sweetheart. He's so sweet.
We just started talking about shows and art and how the conventions are going, and I got to talk to him about how the hell they get the Weta booth everywhere. And turns out they just have it that lives in San Diego, and they just move it around the country as they need it. But,
they have a cave troll.
Right.
They have a cave troll.
They have a cave troll. I remember the year with the cave troll. I was just like, ooh.
Well, now the cave troll lives in San Diego all the time.
Lives in warehouse in San Diego.
He visits elsewhere, but he's a San Diego cave troll.
He's a San Diego cave troll.
You know what? When I was researching for my stream about San Diego, I read how the San Diego Comic-Con org bought some warehouses in that harbor area.
Yeah.
I bet that's just they didn't say what they were for, but what else would it be for? It's to store all the shit.
Yeah. That's why he's such a chill cave troll, and you can have him around all those people, because San Diego all year.
Wait, shouldn't he be under the Coronado Bridge?
Maybe he sneaks out at night.
Probably. He sneaks out at night. He's just suck it, Fremont troll up in Seattle. I'm gonna be the San Diego troll.
If you've got to do a sketch on one of your later con things that's happening this weekend, that should be your sketch. And if so, I want you to send me a picture of it.
Okay.
Just so you know.
They email each other.
They totally email each other. Though, yeah, no, a cave troll is in a cave. A bridge troll in San Diego under the Coronado Bridge would just be on some kind of flotation device, just with a drink in hand and sunglasses, just chilling.
Now I just
feeling like a troll villain.
An entire collection of Becky trolls. I just want that collection now, just so you know. So write that down, because that's a thing I want to exist in the world.
He could live in the old toll plaza. Well, no, I guess they took the toll plaza out, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah, we lived in San Diego long enough to see the Troll Plaza.
Troll Plaza.
Troll Plaza.
Troll Plaza. I like it.
They're the Troll Plaza. You know what? I've lived in so many different places where bridges were important that I kind of like this idea. Damn it, Ashley! I've got other
You're
things.
welcome.
How are we supposed to watch the old guard now?
Right.
Right?
While
I
love
that idea. Cause I just trolls under bridges. I love it. All right, that's going on my. Oh my god. I'm sorry. That's going on this stack of Post-it notes. That is the idea.
Yeah, but it was my idea.
Things I
Put
want
it
to
on
do.
top. It's my idea. Put it on top. It's good.
That's fair.
It is. Well, it's going on top because it's the latest idea. Ashley,
No, it's
that's
because
just
it's
physics.
the
Yeah,
best
but
idea.
the
It's
next
just
idea. The next idea, you have to lift my idea up and put it under my idea.
It's the best idea. Don't make eye
Oh
contact.
my god. Hasn't anyone done this yet? Okay, so like, let me look around again. I'm like, up in Brooklyn Bridge.
I'm telling you.
So many bridges. Verrazano Bridge.
Well,
In Kentucky, I didn't live in Louisville, but my brother lives in Louisville. Louisville's got a really awesome bridge. Now, San Diego's
seen-
Coronado Bridge. I live in frickin' Portland. We got a billion frickin'
I grew
bridges.
up in a tiny town
So
in
I've-
Kentucky that had a bridge across the Ohio. The only bridge for
Natural
miles,
bridge.
miles.
No, I live near
I've
natural
seen-
bridge. Oh shit! Why haven't I thought of this?
So
Damn it,
other
Ashley.
people have done bridges. Lots of people have done bridges, right? And actually, it's on Dane's idea list somewhere to do bridges too. But I specifically think you would capture not only the troll, but like what makes the troll interesting in that area. That's a Becky thing.
My Brooklyn troll is gonna have a fucking slice of pizza and it's gonna be folded properly like
And-
goddamn pizza should be eaten.
And a coffee, because I didn't go at a freaking coffee shop in Brooklyn that wasn't amazing.
Well, yeah. Well, the coffee, it's going to be in the little blue and white Greek restaurant cup.
Yes, obviously.
And then a slice.
Yes.
But like, yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, and it's not has anybody done bridges? It's they've done the Becky treatment of the bridge trolls. No, because you haven't done it. Start drawing.
Actually, supposed
I'm going to, it's not finalized yet, but okay, first of all, there are like 2 or 3 books that I want to write and draw, right? But I'm like, but I'm finishing up 2 commissions. And then if all goes well, I will be drawing, Dane knows this, I will be drawing an album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But I'm like,
also-
shit, now I just want to go, fuck money. I want to draw trolls on the bridges.
See, here's the thing though, because Ashley gave you the idea, and she likes artists getting paid. So the thing is, yes, we want an eventual book of all of the art, the trolls and the bridges and so forth. But before that, you just do each individual print, because some people want particular prints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's it.
And you sell those, and then when you have the collection, then you have your book, and you can decide what you want to write about it later.
I love it. I love
So
it.
you
Also,
money now
I've
and money
been
later. Take my money twice,
needing to
Becky.
do a Patreon. To be a thing I reveal on Patreon.
There you go.
Take my money twice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I could make suggestions for cities, and then my only concern is that it's like I don't want to over stereotype a place, but that's where I'll just talk to the people from those
Yeah.
places and go, well, what would your troll be doing?
There you go.
Because they'll tell you. They know.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of really great Kansas City bridges, and there should be barbecue. And a fountain in the background.
There are Kansas City bridges. You have water? What?
Yeah, they have a river.
It turns
Missouri
out.
River
What?
runs right through it.
And every year, it gives everyone a big hug.
Right.
Or
Big
better
wet hug.
yet, if you just want to skip that, the Atchison Bridge is actually really cool looking. Atchison, Kansas.
Yeah.
It is
Neat.
named after a very
Somebody named
famous.
Atchison.
It's named after Amelia Earhart
It's like, I don't
because
Oh,
that's
wow.
where she's from.
Yeah.
So it's got a cool name, and the people there consider it very haunted.
Yes.
So you could draw a really cool bridge that's named the Amelia Earhart Bridge, which is cool, and also have your troll communing with ghosts.
This is okay.
I like it.
I feel like it's a very Becky bridge.
This is a very
is.
Becky bridge.
That's very
This is. I love water, and I love bridges, and I love monsters. Ah. Oh, the album cover I will be doing. The song is about monsters and how they're all a big happy family. I was just like, wow, why did they think of me? I can't imagine why.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Does not make any sense at all. Yeah, I'm kind of excited and stuff. But right now it's like we got Chinese food and we gotta eat. Good God, I could talk with you guys all night. I miss you so much. I mean, I keep wanting to pop into your streams, but it's just like, it is amazing. It's a different kind of busy. Is this the same for you? It's a different kind of busy, but good God.
Yeah. We're constantly working.
Yeah. It's just, it's different.
Well,
but
we're not working for cons anymore, so it's...
Right.
We should do this again, not just necessarily about San Diego Comic-Con, but we should do this again. And,
let us know in the chat, or shoot us Twitters if you would like to see more of these, because I've had fun.
I've had a lot of fun.
I want to just one of the things I want to do. I've been wanting to do this is figure out how to have guests, because when I do the trivia and live drawing on Monday, I was just like, I know y'all like trivia. I know y'all are smart and stuff. It's like I'd love to have you on mine too.
We can talk about how tech work.
How does tech?
I have no idea.
I mean, I can't even straighten my
round table. Okay.
An old order round table. Oh, I want to draw anything haunted by possums. Oh.
That's just my soul, really.
Me?
The opossum is my inner beastie.
Guys, we had a couple of them, like, right up on our patio, like, right up against the sliding doors. And so I was standing right there, and it became very obvious how large they are.
Possums are like raccoons or large animals. Yeah.
Like, this dude was full on, like, fat cat size.
So cute.
But the tail was even, like, I was like, whoa. So I'm a little haunted to this day. Dane was excited. He's been, like, possum and everything.
Possums.
Me, I'm, like, a little haunted by the possums.
Possums are rad. Yay, not so small forest animals. Hell, even in San Diego, we saw a possum every once in a while.
Yeah.
Before it got eaten by the coyotes.
Right.
That's why I'm like, sometimes I'm like side-eyeing my neighbors. I mean, we love to borrow their cats and, get our cat on because we don't have a cat and we miss having a cat. But our neighbors let their cats outside and I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Why do you let your cats outside? Oh, they don't have coyotes up here. In San Diego, it's just like, wrap your chihuahua in bubble wrap because there are coyotes.
There are
definitely coyotes in Portland.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of them when we used to walk at night.
But like,
well, this is Beaverton, not Coyoteton, okay?
But you bring your cats in at night, and/or you don't declaw them, and they can climb the tree.
That's true. Yeah, that is what they do. Bring them in at night.
See, there you go.
That's
the coyotes in Portland are definitely nocturnal.
Yeah.
So also, with outdoor cats, we have outdoor cat food sometimes, and we occasionally see a raccoon just going in with both hands. And he looks up at us like, "Fuck off! This is my cat food."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
He's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm a cat."
Yeah, bitch.
I love that your raccoons have New York accents.
Oh, fuck yeah. No, this whole with forest animals, fuck that shit. Like straight out of book. Okay? Like the rats. The rats are the ones who taught us how to be trash pandas, okay? We learned from the best. Motherfucking New York raccoons.
Oh my gosh,
I think on that note.
Yeah, straight out of the forest.
No to motherfucking raccoons.
Okay. All right.
Thank you guys for joining us. We love you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, wait. Now I gotta push that. I gotta push the button. Push the button, Frank. Push the button. I'm pushing the red button.
And we're gone.
Explode. All right.
Wow,
Ooh,
double us. Double monkey
vision.
minion all across the sky.
Yes. All right. So yeah, I think that's a good stream. Good stream.
Yeah. Good stream. Thanks for joining us.
Great job, everybody.
Let us know if you want to see.
It is a mirror. It's reversed. That's crazy.
It's so weird. I'm so confused. I don't know which side to look at.
Let's turn that off.
I don't know what's happening. Make it stop.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, let us know if this was cool, if you want us to try to set up more of these.
Yeah.
we have other people that could entertain you.
We do have other people that could entertain you. So
or Becky's pretty entertaining all the time.
Yeah, we could have started talking about like anything else. Literally anything else. She'll talk about anything for hours. So
she has lots of great stories.
She does.
So, but let us know, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We could try to set up more of these. We were just grateful Becky and James were willing to
join us on a short notice because we literally came up with this
the other day. But not only that, but they were willing to take the time to make sure that the tech worked because we sort of thought it would, but you never know until you actually get the other person on the other line and try to hook it all up.
Tech testing.
Let us know in if there were any tech issues, or if you got on you guys' end, if you were hearing anything weird or not hearing or what have you.
Got a text saying you would do it again. So yeah. Anyway, visit Becky. Her information is down there in the corner on her Tumblr. She is also Hicks on Twitter, and we've sent you all to her Twitch before, but it's Rebecca Hicks Prime on Twitch.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Exactly. But yeah, if you guys like this, send us a note on Twitter or Facebook or however you like to get us hold of us. And yeah, we'll see you guys Sunday night for whatever the hell we're going to do Sunday night.
And we might, Dane might throw in a very boring stream, one of our super boring streams later, because he's got he's got some sketches to work on now.
Oh yeah, I opened up commissions for the first time in years, and yeah, so I've got a few of those to do.
I can dig some more holes in the ground.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. So, night everybody.
Bye.